Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast, where we try to make sense of these wild markets, right?
Yeah.
Today, we're going to look at something pretty fascinating. Quantum computing investments. It's a bit of a roller coaster ride.
It is.
And we're zeroing in on a company called Rigetti Computing.
Oh, I've heard of them.
They trade under the ticker RGTI. You've probably seen them, maybe.
I have, yeah.
They've had some pretty dramatic ups and downs, right?
Definitely, yeah. A lot of potential there, but also a lot of that
Volatility,
yeah.
which kind of comes with the territory, I guess, when you're talking about a field that's this cutting edge, right?
Absolutely.
So our mission today, if you will, is to unpack what's been going on with our GTI.
Okay.
We've got a whole stack of information here, news articles, those dense financial reports that companies put out, what the analysts are saying, and just the overall market mood, right?
Yeah, it's important to get the whole picture.
Yeah, it is. And we want to give you a clear understanding of what's driving RGTI's stock performance. And, without getting lost in the technical weeds of quantum physics, right?
That can get pretty complicated.
So let's start with the basics. Where is Rigetti's stock currently trading?
Well, as of our latest data, it's hovering around $8 or 5 cents.
$8.05.
But that number doesn't quite tell the whole story, does it?
No, not at all. Because if you look back over the past year,
It's been a wild ride.
tell me about it. The 52-week range is just mind-boggling. It went as low as 66 cents.
That's low.
And then shot all the way up to $21.42.
Yeah, massive swings.
Now, that kind of volatility, again, is pretty typical
Oh, absolutely.
for these companies on the bleeding edge, especially in a field like quantum computing. Remember back in 2024, there was that huge surge.
Right, yeah.
I mean, we're talking a 1,500% increase.
A lot of excitement back then.
The whole sector was just on fire, fueled by, this industry-wide enthusiasm. But what's happened since then? What's brought us back down to this $8 range?
Well, I think the market's taking a bit of a breather. It's a little bit more realistic now. The stock has cooled off from those dizzying heights, and it's been testing what we call support levels. We saw it around 8.90 cents earlier in March, and now we're at this $8.05 level.
So like a settling down.
Exactly. Yeah. The market's trying to figure out what a fair valuation is.
Makes sense. So let's dig into their financials to get a better sense of their, financial health.
Sure.
We've got the numbers for the fourth quarter and the full year of 2024.
Okay.
What stood out to you when you were going through those reports?
Well, for the full year of 2024, Rigetti pulled in $10.8 million in revenue.
$10.8 million.
Which, it shows they're doing business, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They also reported a hefty net loss of $201 million.
$201 million.
A big chunk of that, about $74.2 million, was due to operating expenses. And that's not all that surprising.
I guess
When you think about it, they're pouring money into research and development.
You gotta, right, to stay ahead.
Especially in a field as new and complex as quantum computing. So
That makes sense.
yeah.
Okay, what about their performance just in that fourth quarter?
So in Q4 of 2024, their revenue was $2.3 million, which is actually down from the same period the year before. And the net loss for the quarter was a substantial $153 million. Now, a big part of that number was because of non-cash changes in derivative liabilities.
So accounting stuff.
Yeah, basically. It doesn't mean they actually lost that much cash, but it does impact how their profit or loss looks on paper. Also, their gross profit margin took a dip in 2024, down to 44% from 75% the year before.
So less profitable.
It seems that way, yeah. Maybe their costs are going up or their pricing strategy is shifting as they grow, It's something to keep an eye on.
Okay. So financially, it sounds like they're still very much in investment mode, which is leading to these big losses. But, that's kind of par for the course.
Pretty common, yeah.
For a company this stage in a field that requires so much capital, right?
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk about the big news, this strategic collaboration with Quanta Computer.
Oh, yeah.
This could be a real game changer for them.
It has the potential, for sure.
So back on February 27th of last year, they announced this $500 million collaboration. Quanta is bringing some serious money to the table.
They are.
$100 million as a direct investment and another $35 million to buy Rigetti stock at $11.59 a share. That's a pretty big vote of confidence, right?
Definitely. They're putting their money where their mouth is.
So what's the goal of this partnership?
The big aim is to speed up the development and, the rollout of superconducting quantum computing tech. This kind of partnership gives Rigetti a huge boost, not just financially, but also in terms of, the know-how that Quanta has.
Oh, in terms of like manufacturing and stuff?
Exactly, yeah. Quanta's got a lot of experience in that area, and that's really valuable for a company like Rigetti.
And the market definitely reacted pretty enthusiastically to this news.
It did.
Reports showed a whopping 109% increase in their stock price over the last quarter, leading up to March 9th of last year.
That's impressive.
And then an 11.18% jump just on March 12th.
Yeah, a big bump.
What do you think drove that surge?
Well, having a big player like Quanta come in and invest like that, it really boosted investor confidence. It signals that, somebody who really knows the tech industry sees a bright future for Rigetti.
Okay, so beyond the financials of the partnerships, let's talk about the tech itself.
Sure.
Have there been any significant milestones on that front?
Yeah, actually. Back in December of 2024, they launched their 84-qubit Anka 3 system, and they reported really high gate fidelities with this system 99.0% for ISWAP and 99.5% for EPSIM.
Now, those are impressive numbers, but maybe you could break those down for us regular folks.
Sure. Basically, those high fidelities mean that their quantum gates, the basic building blocks of the computer, are performing operations with very few errors. And that's crucial for building more powerful and reliable quantum computers.
So less hiccups, better results.
Exactly.
It sounds like they're making some real progress on the core technology. And it's not just about internal R&D. They're starting to, get some customers outside of just research labs.
They are, yeah.
Which is a big deal, right?
Absolutely.
So they sold some of their Novera QPUs to Montana State University.
Their first academic customer.
And to the UK government. That's a good sign, right? That they're moving beyond just the theoretical and into practical applications.
Definitely. It shows that their technology is maturing and becoming useful in the real world.
So positive developments on the tech side and with these partnerships. Now, what are the analysts who follow Rigetti saying about its future?
Well, the analysts are pretty bullish overall. There's a consensus strong buy rating from the 4 analysts who cover the company.
It's a strong buy. And what kind of price targets are they putting out there?
The average 12-month price target is about $14.50.
That's quite a jump from where it is now.
It is, yeah. But, as with any company in this early stage, especially in a field like this, these projections are, they're educated guesses.
Right.
Quantum computing is a very competitive space. You've got giants like IBM and Google in the game too, so it's not a sure thing by any means.
Of course not. And that's a really good point for our listeners to keep in mind. Now, this might be a little surprising given the losses we were talking about.
Yeah.
But Rigetti actually seems to be in a pretty good spot financially, at least in terms of how much cash they have on hand.
That's right. As of the end of December 2024, they had a healthy $217.2 million in cash and cash equivalents. That's partly thanks to the $153.3 million they got from selling stock.
So they've got some breathing room.
They do, which is important because R&D is expensive.
It is.
And it's going to be a while before they're really turning a profit, most likely.
Okay. Now, let's circle back to the stock market's reaction to all of this. It seems like there's more at play than just, the company's fundamentals when it comes to their stock price. Remember that dip after they announced their earnings? The analyst was still positive, but the stock went down anyway.
Yeah.
Why do you think that happened?
Well, my guess is that investors were a little disappointed that their revenue wasn't as high as some folks were expecting, but then the stock bounced back, which suggests that maybe they were more focused on the future outlook and the positive comments from analysts at Needham and TD Cowen, who highlighted their plans for 2025 and, that healthy cash position we just talked about.
So it's not just about the past performance. It's about the future potential.
Exactly. The market is always looking ahead.
And there was that big drop back in February, too, a 36% decline.
Oof. Yeah.
What happened there?
That one seems to have been more about, the overall economy and the tech sector taking a hit. Even NVIDIA's stock was down around that time, so.
So sometimes it's just the bigger picture.
Sometimes it is, yeah. You can't always control for that.
But then, of course, we had the Quanta partnership announcement, which really sent the stock soaring.
For sure.
By March 11th of last year, it was back up, gaining almost 10% to reach $9.35.
Positive news can really move the needle.
It can. Now, on the other hand, we did see some insider selling. Their CTO, David Rivas, He sold over $5 million worth of stock in early March. How does that kind of move usually affect investor sentiment?
Well, insider selling can sometimes spook investors a bit, you know.
Yeah, it can make you wonder,
It makes you wonder if maybe the insiders don't have as much faith in the company's short-term prospects.
even if they have their own personal reasons for selling, right?
Exactly. It could be totally unrelated to their view of the company, but it can still create some uncertainty in the market.
Right. And finally, let's not forget about the overall industry mood.
Yeah, the big picture.
There were some comments from NVIDIA's CEO about, the timeline for quantum computing to really make a big impact.
I remember.
How do those kinds of, big picture statements from industry leaders affect companies like Rigetti?
Well, someone like the CEO of NVIDIA, they have a lot of influence, right?
They do.
So if they say something that makes people think quantum computing is going to take longer to really take off, that can dampen the enthusiasm for all quantum computing stocks, including Rigetti. It's important to pay attention to those industry trends.
So to wrap things up, it seems like Rigetti is a company with huge potential, but it also comes with a lot of risk.
That's a fair assessment.
It's a fascinating field, but it's still early days.
Mm-hmm.
For our listeners, what would you say is the most important takeaway from our discussion today?
I think the key takeaway is that investing in these early stage tech companies, it can be very rewarding, but it's also inherently risky. You need to have a long-term perspective.
Patience.
Yeah, patience. And you need to understand all the different factors that can affect the stock price, not just the company's financials.
Great advice. And that leads me to a final thought for our listeners. With all the advancements and partnerships we're seeing in quantum computing, what other surprises might be around the corner?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What unexpected collaborations or breakthroughs could shake things up in the investment landscape?
It's hard to say, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. This field is moving so fast, we should expect the unexpected.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today.
It was my pleasure.
For our listeners, if you enjoy this conversation, please do us a favor and subscribe to Investing Talk Podcast. Hit that like button and leave a comment. We love hearing from you. Until next time, happy investing.